Hi everyone, welcome to another Pandas tutorial for beginner session. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to rename columns in Pandas data frames. So let's get started. So make sure you have Python installed and you should also have Pandas installed. If you don't have Python installed, don't worry, you can still use the local platform which is here. I'll leave the link to this page in the description box. So when you are here, make sure to click on new notebook and then a new notebook will be open for you. If let's say you mistakenly click outside this box, you can come to file and you can come to new notebook. So when you click it, a new notebook is going to be open for you like this one here. And then you can start typing your Python commands. So I'll switch to my Jupyter notebook here. All right. So first of all, we need to import pandas. So I'll just import it. I'll say import pandas as PD. I'm going to execute this command and then I'll need to get the example data. So don't worry, I already have an example data for you. So let's come to this GitHub repo here. So we are going to use this data here. All right. So there's a CSV file which has some results here. We have models and then their respective performances. All right, so the models were evaluated using these metrics and then we have this table. So if you want to learn how to generate a table like this to compare, classify performance, I have a tutorial for that. As a matter of fact, this data was generated or this table was generated from one of my earlier tutorials. So I will leave the link to that tutorial in the description box. All right. And by the way, I'll leave the link to this page also in the description box. So don't worry, just use the link that I'll give in the description box and you'll be able to access the data here. So what we need to do is to load this data. All right. So you don't need to download, you can load it directly. So just come to this side and then click on this copy raw file here. So I'll go over again. So on this page, all right, come to this side and then copy the link. So you come to this, you see copy raw file. Or you can also right click the raw like this and then go to copy link. So any of them will copy the link for you. So right click and then copy the link. Alternatively, you can click on raw. So when you click on raw, you'll be sent to another page and here you can copy the link that has been displayed for you. So any of them should give the link, right? And then you can come to the notebook and then load it. All right. So to load, I'll just say link to file equals. I'll put them in double quote because we are dealing with a strange data type. So I'll put it like this and then I'll execute the command. So now if I do a print link to file like this, I should see the link to the file. Right, so once you see this, that means that everything is fine. So now I can load it in Pandas. So I'll say load data or load example data. So I'll say df equals pd.read csv and I'll say link to file. So let's execute this command. Nice. So the data has been loaded. So if I do a df.head, I should see some stuff here, right? So this is how we do it. Okay. Now we'll proceed. So with what we have, the focus of this tutorial is to show you how to rename columns. So we will look at the columns here. These are the columns. If you want to display the columns, you can also say df.columns. This will list all the columns for you. Right, so the head will give you the first 5 rows like this. Was still the column displayed, and if you want the columns alone, you can use this to display them. Okay, so now let's do this. We are now going to rename some columns. So we will start with the model. We have a model here. Let's say we want to rename it. We want to change it to uppercase M. All right, how do we do that? Or let's say accuracy, you want to change to A. How do we do that? The A starts in the letter accuracy. How do we do that? Or let's say you want to completely change the name. That's also fine. You can also do that. So we are going to look at different activities here with respect to renaming columns. Okay, so let's start. So let's say the model here, you want to rename it to, let's say, M, uppercase M. How do we do that? You can just indicate it here. We first need to create a dictionary. Okay, so let's say renaming columns. Okay, so step one. Step one, create a dictionary objects that has the old name as the key and new name as the value. Let me just correct it here. So this is how it's done. All right. So let's say we want to rename M, the M here. Let's say this model, we want to change it to model. That's uppercase M. Then model, this one becomes the old name. And then the M, uppercase M, becomes the new name. All right. So let's try it here. All right. So example is, let's say, model. We are changing to model. So this becomes the old name. This becomes the new name. So let's look at it. So we create a dictionary. All right. So we say name underscore dict equals, I bring my curly brackets. Then I bring my model old name colon the new name, which is model. All right. Now, for those who are new into Python, I have a separate tutorial for dictionaries. So for that one, I give a detailed explanation of what dictionaries are and how you can manipulate them. So if you're interested, check out the video, you'll find a link to that video. Okay, so this becomes our dictionary. That's the first step here. So let's execute this command. I can say name underscore dict to display it. So I should see this here. And then step 2. For the data frame method rename and supply the dictionary or the dictionary objects or dictionary. So that's how we do it. So we will say df, that's what we have to do. We have to say df.rename. That's the method data frame rename. And then in the parentheses, we will specify the dictionary, which is name underscore dict. And then we bring a comma and we say axis equals 1. This one, it should stay 1. Axis equals 1. That's how it's supposed to be. Okay, so let's execute this command. Perfect. So now if you do it, you realize that MODL. Now we have MODL, that is M uppercase, but previously it was M lowercase. All right, so that's how we rename a column. So this is a single column. Now let's do this. Let's look at something. Let's display the data frame again. I've done it here. You will see that the old name has resurfaced. So why do we have this coming up? Despite the fact that we use the rename method here. This is because what we did here, we performed the operation, but we did not assign to a variable. Neither did we save the changes to the old data frame. All right, so what we did is just display. All right, so if you want to make the change persistent, if you want to make the change permanent, then there are 2 ways to go about it. All right, so let's do this. Let's say making the change or changes permanent or persistent, right? Okay, so we are going to look at them. So let's start with approach 1. Approach 1. Assign the operation to a variable. This means that this command we issued, we can assign to a variable. So when we assign to a variable, then the changes will be saved and assigned to that variable. All right, so let's look at that example. So I can say df renamed equals, and I will specify the operation here. So let's execute this command. Okay, I can even say df rename, but this one is fine. So I will say df rename, and I'm going to see that the change has been effected. So we can use this table if we want to. All right. You can also assign the main df to this variable. And so when you do it that way, then the results will be assigned back to the df. So that will give you an updated table. All right. But you can also do it this way. That's what we are going to look at next, the second approach. So approach 2, use the in place arguments. So this one, we don't need to assign the operation to a variable. We'll just indicate this when we are using the rename method. So let me show you how it's done. We say df plus rename, just as we did. We say name underscore dict as this equals 1. And then we bring another argument. We say in place equals true, like this. So this, let's execute it. So when you do it, now if I say df, you will see that the change has been effected. So the table, the original table has been modified. So it is your decision whether to modify the original table or to assign it to another variable. That one, it depends on you, right? But whatever you are doing, you should also make sure it's optimized and efficient, especially if you are dealing with lots of data sets or if you are dealing with a large data. All right, so that one, I'll leave it for another day. All right, so this is it. Now, it's not only about renaming a single column, you can rename multiple columns. All right, so in that situation, it's the same approach, but this time you specify all the information in the dictionary you create. So let's say renaming multiple columns. So let's look at it. Let's say you want to rename this. All of them, we are changing their respective names. We are using uppercases, okay, for their first letters. So I'll just say, let's say accuracy will be renamed to accuracy. What do we have again? Precision. Let's say we rename to precision. F1 score, let's say we rename to F1 score. So let's do it here. So in that case, you create your dictionary name dict, have your curly brackets, and in it you specify it. So we start with accuracy, then it's accuracy. For each key value pair, we separate with a comma. So I bring my comma. I'll say precision. It's uppercase, and then we have F1 score as what? F1 score. You can also experiment with different names, that's fine. Like this. Okay, so this becomes the dictionary, right? So let's create it and then let's rename our table. So I'll say df.rename name dict, comma, as this equals 1, in place equals true. So let's execute this command. Perfect, has been done. So if you do a df, you'll find them there. can also do a df.columns if you have multiple columns. If you have lots of columns, df.columns, and you will see them there. All right. So we have been able to do that. So this will be your assignment. I want you to rename these two metrics score. In kappa score, you can make it C score, and then Matthews correlation coefficient. You can also say M core, or just try to rename it. That's what I'm trying to say. So rename it and let me see how it goes. Now, because the table is also possible to rename the index. All right. So I have a tutorial on that. And for those who are also looking for more tutorials on Pandas, I have tutorials that show how to perform machine learning tasks using Python and then Pandas and then scikit-learn. So check the playlist here. You'll find tutorials on Python for machine learning.